2 months off. 2 months without the greatest club competition in the world. And what would be a Rabona TV Champions League video without... Oh, that's right. We're gonna be setting up the matches and throwing in a cheeky prediction because why not? Am I a predictions prophet? Nah, not really, but it's fun for me to do anyway. Sort of like people who suck at gambling but love doing it. That might be called a gambling addiction. All right, let's get going. If you're just finding this channel for the first time, then consider hitting subscribe. And let's get to FC Basel versus Manchester City. How did these guys do in the group stage?
After opening Group A with a 3-0 loss to Manchester United, Basel went on to get their biggest European win ever with a 5-0 drubbing of Benfica. That still hurts. Winning 4 of their final 5 matches in the group stage, they finished runners-up to United. City, on the other hand, had a near-perfect group stage, losing only on the final match day once they were already qualified for the round of 16. Their most notable fixture in the group stage campaign? A big 4-2 away win to Napoli, a team who has only lost once at home in domestic play this season.
Now, no Swiss team has ever made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and it will be extremely tough for Basel to do so. They could take solace in the fact that City seem to be light on reinforcements, as both Guardiola and Kevin De Bruyne have highlighted, the fact that only 16 or 15 to 16 we'll call it, players are available to them. However, I just can't see an upset happening in this case. Funnily enough, Basel's largest European loss was 5-0 to Guardiola's Barca, and while I don't think there will be a massive, colossal gulf between these two, City will go through. Score? Man, I don't know. One match will be close, the other will be comfortable. City through 5-2. Hey, that rhymed. Okay, one of the marquee matchups now as it's Turin versus Tottenham. So how did Juve and Tottenham do in the group stage?
Tottenham went unbeaten in what looked as if it would be a very difficult group stage, with Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. Well, Dortmund were duds and Madrid are having a strange season, but take nothing away from Tottenham, as they were worthy group winners. 5 wins, 1 draw, 15 goals for, and only 4 against in 6 matches. Juve were handed with the task of competing with Barca for first, and making sure tricky Sporting Lisbon didn't pip them for second. Well, they managed to at least get past Sporting, despite opening group play with a 3-0 thumping from Barca.
However, goals seemed to be a problem as across 6 matches, they only scored 7 with 5 against, cutting it close. I guess it didn't help that Paulo Dybala, who was doing great in Italy, was completely ineffectual in the Champions League, and Higuain had a somewhat slump, only managing 2 goals. Now it's no secret that Tottenham can be over-reliant on Kane, and thankfully he's in rare form both domestically and in Europe. He managed 6 goals in the group stage, which is just 1 less than Juve as a team managed, and has scored 13 goals in his last 10 matches. Juve are unbeaten in their last 26 European home matches, and I think they will remain so, with the return fixture at Wembley being the pivotal match. This is a tough one, man, since Juve is in great form at the moment domestically, and Higuain is also returning to form. I'm gonna say Juve takes it on goal difference 3-3. Okay, Real Madrid versus PSG. This is probably the match that most neutrals, myself included, will be looking forward to. Real Madrid is stuttering this season, but they seem to have a magical relationship with the Champions League, as they of course became the first team ever to defend their title. But let's look at their group stages. And by theirs, I mean Real Madrid's and PSG's, of course. Roll it.
Madrid looked decent in their Champions League group stage, only losing once away to Tottenham. Cristiano Ronaldo, a metaphor for his team it seems, struggled domestically, but was the UCL group stage top scorer with 9 goals, 3 more than second place scorer Edinson Cavani, who led PSG alongside Neymar with 6 goals apiece, as PSG stormed to the top of Group B winning 5 straight matches, conceding only once, but tripping over the finish line with a 3-1 loss to Bayern.
That said, PSG still managed to score an incredible 25 goals in the group stage. However, things seem to be a little bit off in Paris. It's no secret that Neymar has been the cause of disturbances, or at least purported disturbances in the locker room. A locker room that doesn't seem to be completely unified, at least from the outside. So, you have to wonder, if the going were to get tough against Real Madrid, would they rally or would they point the finger at each other? With that said, Real Madrid have looked a shadow of themselves with only 4 wins in their last 10 matches, notably getting bounced from the Copa del Rey by Leganés, and the last time they played a top opposition, Barcelona, they were completely outclassed in El Clásico. This is going to be a tight one, but I think that Real Madrid's suffering could continue if PSG can rally together, something that Neymar would be willing to make happen, perhaps temporarily, if only to get one over his old rivals. PSG to take it 4-3, but I really don't feel good about this one. Caught between what my head thinks and a gut feeling, somewhere between my head and my gut, you will find my confusion. This is tough, and it only gets tougher as we go to Porto versus Liverpool now.
Porto were stuck in one of the most competitive groups alongside Besiktas, RB Leipzig, and AS Monaco. A 5-2 win over Monaco on the final match day, coupled with a Leipzig loss, ensured they made it through with 10 points. Unfortunately for them though, they will have to go it without centre-back Felipe in the first match, though Liverpool will be without midfield linchpin Emre Can, with both serving suspensions. Liverpool went undefeated in their group, though notably, show their defensive frailties and lack of focus have followed them to Europe as well, as they blew a 3-0 lead over Sevilla to draw 3-3.
That said, they did score 23 goals, with Salah and Firmino being just as effective in the Champions League as they are in the Premier League. And hell, Milner seems to fancy those European nights as well, as he is the current assist leader in the Champions League with 5. Now, FC Porto has yet to beat Liverpool in 4 meetings, only scoring against the Reds twice across those 4 games. They can take some solace in the fact that Liverpool's form is spotty at best at the moment, but I can't see Liverpool losing this one. Their attack just seems as though it will be too much for Porto to handle, and I think this one will end up 5-3 on aggregate. By the way, didn't Liverpool also set the English record for goals scored in the Champions League group stage? Anyways, now to the matches happening 2 weeks from now, so hopefully nobody gets injured and the form trends sort of remain the same. We've got some Bayern versus Besiktas next, and this one could be interesting. Hey, don't scoff, man. Don't give me that look. I said it could be interesting.
Besiktas were dominant in group play, with a perfect record of 4 wins and 2 draws in what was a tricky, if not competitive group alongside Porto, Leipzig, and Monaco, as mentioned before. They became the first Turkish side ever to win a Champions League group, and they advanced to the round of 16 for the first time in the Black Eagles' history. After a poor start in the Champions League and domestically, Ancelotti got the sack and Heinz revolutionized Bayern. Since his return, they went on a 4-match winning streak in the UCL, scoring 10 and conceding 3 along the way, finishing second behind PSG.
Now, these two have played each other twice before, with both matches going in favor of Bayern, but I think it's also fair to say that Besiktas was a completely different team back then, as they have looked extremely strong in Europe this season, with their Vodafone Arena becoming a fortress for them, only losing there once at the beginning of this season in the Turkish Super Cup, so we're talking all competitions here, by the way. However, Bayern are dominant at the moment as they lead the Bundesliga by 18 points, which is a record amount after 23 match days. Lewandowski has been scoring, James Rodriguez is looking like the world beater he threatened to be during the 2014 World Cup, and even Sven Ulreich has been a worthy replacement for Manuel Neuer. Couple that with the fact that they haven't lost at home yet this season. In fact, they have only failed to win at home once from 14 matches across all competitions. And I think this only spells doom for Besiktas, who will make it interesting in their home leg, but ultimately fall 6-3 on aggregate. All right, Chelsea versus FC Barcelona, and oh man, these two teams bring up some amazing Champions League memories. How'd they do?
Barcelona were spotless in this group stage, finishing 3 points ahead of second-placed Juventus. Funnily enough, their second highest scorer in the group stage was own goal, with 3. Chelsea, on the other hand, had a tough go of things, competing for the top 2 spots with Roma, Atletico Madrid, and a tricky Karabag. In the end, they made it through, taking only 1 defeat, albeit a heavy one, 3-0 away to Roma.
Now, things seem to be strange at Chelsea. In fact, it seems like the classic Chelsea life cycle of bringing in a top manager, getting success, and then driving him out. Seems like it's happening again to Conte, as it really seems as though he has no say in transfers and the board doesn't back him. The way he's speaking also seems like he's daring Chelsea to sack him so he can get his big payout. And the results also sort of point to that, with 2 losses in a row to Bournemouth and Watford. In fact, they've only won 2 of their last 6 matches and brought in the likes of Giroud and Barkley in the transfer window, and Emerson of course, but Barcelona, on the other hand, continue to be dominant as they are unbeaten in La Liga play, losing only once this season, that being in the Copa del Rey against Espanyol. I can only see this going one way, Barcelona taking it, and there's a possibility for it to get embarrassing for Chelsea. And if it does, that could be the end of Conte, which it probably will be. I'll take Barcelona at 5-2, as if Watford can put 4 past Chelsea in one match. Shakhtar, Roma, let's go.
As mentioned before, Roma had a tricky group which they managed to top thanks to head-to-head results versus Chelsea. They only lost once in the group stage, when they were away to Atletico. Shakhtar, on the other hand, were one of the surprise packages for neutrals, as most people, myself included, predicted City and Napoli to make it out of Group F. In the end though, Shakhtar finished with 12 points to third-placed Napoli's 6, with big wins over Napoli and Manchester City at home proving decisive.
Again, as I said before, City were already through when they lost to Shakhtar, so take from that what you will. However, they do come into this match as the informed team, having just 1 loss from their last 5 matches. The rest all wins, while Roma only has 1 win from their last 5 matches as they have struggled to score more than 1 goal in that period. Yeah, they've only scored 1 goal in each of their last 5 matches. Shakhtar actually eliminated Roma at this stage in the 2010-2011 edition of the Champions League, and honestly, I can see them doing it again, as they have only lost 1 of their last 13 European home games. I think Shakhtar will take this one 3-1 on aggregate. And finally, Manchester United versus Sevilla, a team who loves a European night, or at least a Europa night.
United made relatively easy work of Group A, with their only hiccup being a 1-0 loss away to FC Basel on the second-to-last match day. Other than that, they only conceded 3 goals, topping the table with 15 points. Sevilla, on the other hand, made things difficult for themselves, as they benefited from a Spartak Moskva conniption on the final match day, ensuring they slipped through with just a draw against Maribor. Wissam Ben Yedder was a danger man for them, scoring 6 goals in 6 matches.
Jose Mourinho is arguably one of the best managers, at least historically, when it comes to one-off matches, as he exhibited last season in the Europa League. But this will be a little bit different, as they are coming up against a Sevilla side that, while being spotty this season, tend to turn up in important matches. Recently, they bounced Atletico Madrid out of the Copa del Rey 5-2 on aggregate, and we all know their Europa League record. 3 straight titles, and 5 in 11 seasons. So they have a bit of a European history, but it hasn't really translated to the Champions League. But that's what makes this tricky. If they can find that magic, they can cause problems. But ultimately, I think Mourinho will navigate this 2-legged tie with relative, emphasis on relative, ease. And United will take it 3-1 on aggregate. So I have City, Juve, PSG, Liverpool, Bayern, Barcelona, Shakhtar, and United all making it through to the quarterfinals. Who do you got? Make sure to comment below with your picks so we can kindly and respectfully discuss the Champions League together. All right, I'm Adrian. I hope you learned something new today and enjoy the matches. Bye.